identified and potentially moved around some of the superficial muscles. You're going to use the same section of the book that we've already used for the neck, so progressively looking more caudally down the cat. The first muscle that you are going to want to know where it's located is the first one on your list, which is cutaneous trunci. Cutaneous referring to skin, right? Trunci referring to the trunk of the body. It is synonymous with the platysma muscle. So the platysma muscle was the most superficial muscle tightly adhered to the skin, right? And it allowed the animal to move its skin independently from the other muscles. That's been completely removed when they skinned your cats. Okay, so you can make a little asterisk next to it. You don't have to take a picture of it because you're not going to see it. Okay. What I suggest you guys do is, I don't want your guys' table yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was, we were like, oh.
Oh, no. Yeah, one more. Too many people.
Okay.
What I want you to do is I want you to start ventrally. I want you to take your cat and kind of stretch its legs out. Do you remember when we stretched the neck next time? It gave us a good indication of where the muscles were separated because it stretched that fascia and made it easy to see. So can you see here? There's a line here and there's a line here. Okay. I chose once again the leg that had the injected vessels more appropriately. So this is the side I haven't dissected. You may have a large amount of fat still here. Just go ahead and gently pull up on it with your tweezers. You can use your fingers. You can use your scissors and cut against the muscle and then do the same technique we've used in the past, okay, to remove that layer of fat. The first section you want to look at is on page 150, just like we used before this image. We're just going to go down a little caudally. You see this triangular set of muscles here? Those are the pectoralis muscles, okay? Pectoralis muscles are all these muscles we see here. They are separated into superficial and deep, and you know those terms mean that superficial muscles are going to be closest to the skin, while deep muscles are deeper. So if we look at these muscles, these two superficial muscles are here at the top. You don't have to know them. They say descending and transverse. You just have to know them as pectoralis, okay? And then the deep pectoralis muscle is this large triangular one that actually comes up and goes deep underneath these superficial. So what I did was I took a blade, you want to use a blade today, and I just gently cut on that line, okay? So then I was able to get up underneath it a little to separate it out so I could see it more easily. You see that? Okay. So superficial pectoralis, deep pectoralis. The next thing you want to do are going to be the muscles that are in the top part of the neck down over the arm. On your list you see what says brachiocephalicus muscle. Brachio refers to arm, right? Cephalicus refers to head. So it should tell you that that muscle is going to cover areas of the head and the arm, okay? It's broken up into three parts. Cleido refers to clavicle. Now cats don't have a clavicle. They have a remnant of a clavicle, but they don't have an actual clavicle. You see this white line here? Over the shoulder, basically. That's the remnant of a clavicle. So if I pull really tightly on this cat's arm, you can see that it's right here. On the side I've dissected, it's a little easier to see. See this white line right here? That's the remnant of the clavicle. Okay, so that's going to separate one half of the brachiocephalicus connector to the other. So on this side, I already found my pectoralis muscles, right? We already just talked about those. And then right next to it is the first part of the brachiocephalicus, which is called the cleidobrachialis. Cleidocervical, brachial refers to arm, so it makes sense to you. It's over the arm, the cranial aspect of the arm. So I cut along that cranial aspect, I pulled up underneath it to the other side. So do you see this large muscle here? Cleidobrachialis. Okay. The other part of it is called the cleidocervicalis, cervical meaning neck, right? So once again, here's the cleidobrachialis, here's that little remnant of a clavicle, and you see this large muscle right here? Cervical meaning neck, but also attached to the clavicle. The line to cut would be here. And turn the cat over, the line to cut would be here. So on the side I've dissected, they cut here and here. Okay? Cleidocervicalis, clitobrachialis. Okay? Collectively called the brachiocephalicus muscle. The third one is called the clitomastoideus. Do you guys remember the sternomastoideus? Remember that it was that muscle superficial right here. The clitomastoideus is right next to it, up under the clitocervicalis. You see this? If I pull tightly, see this little band right here? See that little band? Clitomastoideus. So clitomastoideus, clitocervicalis, clitobrachialis, superficial pectoralis, deep pectoralis. Okay? So that's what you do first. You've gotten rid of your fat and fascia, pectoralis, and then the brachiocephalicus culmination. It's the hardest part of your dissection. Okay? Once you're done with the ventral part, once you turn your cat laterally, so it looks like this. And that goes to page 151. Now, on an undissected cat, do you see how everything's covered here? There's no fat, but this really thick layer of fascia, and you have to get it off. I sometimes will take the tip of the blade and make a little cut, or you could use the scissors to make a cut and just get up underneath and start pulling that off. Okay? Once you get all that off, do you see how the muscles just reveal themselves to you? You're still going to have to cut in between the muscles to get to the muscles you need to see, but it's going to be much easier to visualize those. Okay? First set of muscles are most dorsally are going to be the trapezius muscles. Everybody knows those are on your back, right? Trapezius muscles are going to be right over the dorsal part of your body. So if I turn the cat this way just for a second, you can see it looks just like this. Trapezius muscle. Big triangle along the back. Okay? Your book calls it the thoracic and cervical portions. You just need to know what gigantic part of the trapezius is. Okay? Then we'll move down the leg. This little band you see here, it's called the omotransversarius. Okay? Do you notice that if I move this arm like this, the omotransversarius is superficial, but do you see how it kind of ducks up underneath this clitocervicalis? Okay? Omotransversarius, right through here. Move down the leg, deltoideus. There's two heads to it. You just need to know it as the deltoideus muscle. And then triceps. So triceps are on the cranial aspect of your, or caudal aspect of your arm, right? Right back here. I can see the triceps from the lateral side of the arm, but I can see the triceps from the medial side of the arm too, right? Because they're all the way along the back, exposing themselves laterally and medially. The last one is called the brachialis muscle. Okay. So once again, we'll review. Trapezius muscle, omotransversarius muscle, two heads of the deltoideus, triceps. You don't need to know the heads, but they have a lateral head, a medial head, and then the third head. Okay, that's in here. And then brachialis muscle, clitobrachialis, clitocervicalis, clitomastoideus, superficial pectoralis, deep pectoralis. Okay. The last set of muscles that are going to be superficial, you have one called the tensor fascia antebrachium. Do you notice if I pull on this leg here, this is the pectoralis, you can easily see it, right? But there's another little muscle that's obviously separate. It's not in this plane here. It's this tiny little muscle here. It's called the tensor fascia antebrachium. Okay? And then up under here, what's this muscle on your arm? Your biceps, right? So you have your biceps up under the clitobrachialis. Okay? So clitobrachialis is the superficial muscle over the cranial aspect, but the cranial medial aspect of the arm deeper has your biceps. Okay? Biceps brachii, triceps brachii. You can see from both sides, right? Can I see the biceps brachii from both sides? No. So biceps is medial, triceps is both. Brachialis is only lateral. You see that? Brachialis on the lateral side. Triceps can be seen from either side. Biceps is only medial. All right, last set of muscles that are in the arm are deep. What I want you to do with this trapezius muscle is you're going to cut it along the line here. You guys see how I made a cut? I pulled it back. What's this bone here? Scapula, right? Do you remember that when we learned about the scapula, there's a bunch of fossa there? Those depressions are for attachment of muscles. So the deep muscles in the arm are going to be inside the scapular fossas, and their names are very close to the names of the fossas. So the supraspinous fossa is the supraspinatus muscle. Okay. Infraspinous fossa is the infraspinatus muscle. Make a little asterisk. You can't see the infraspinatus muscle because it's buried under all these other muscles, and we're not going to pull it out. Okay? So you don't have to put infraspinatus in your dissection. So palpate for that spine. You can feel the scapular spine right through here. Supraspinatus, infraspinatus. What do you think the one on the inside is? Subscapularis, right? Makes sense in the subscapular fossa. Okay. Do you also notice that there's this gigantic muscle here that's attached to the scapula? It keeps the scapula attached to the body bone. See this muscle here? It's called the rhomboideus muscle. So the rhomboideus muscle is attaching the dorsal part of the caudal aspect of the scapula to the body bone. So your arm's not flapping. Your scapula isn't flapping away. Okay. So subscapularis muscle, infraspinatus muscle, supraspinatus muscle, infraspinatus muscle underneath here, trapezius, omotransversarius, deltoideus muscle, triceps brachii, brachialis, cleidobrachialis, which we can see from both sides, right? Cleidobrachialis, superficial pectoralis, biceps brachii, tensor fascia antebrachii, the other head of the triceps, right? Cleidocervicalis, cleidomastoideus. Okay? Last set of muscles are on the body wall. See this gigantic muscle? It starts up underneath the armpit and then goes along the back. Latissimus dorsi. So you can see it on here. Latissimus dorsi. It is just ventral to the trapezius muscle. Latissimus lateral, right? Dorsi towards the back. So you have it, you can see it here. You can see the line. The line here to cut, and the line here to cut. So if I come to the side, it's dissected. I dissect it along here and along here. This is one of the only muscles you're going to cut. You're going to bisect it in half, like this. And then underneath it, you see these muscles that looks like little fingers? It's called the serratus, like serrations, ventralis, on the ventral part of the abdomen. Serratus ventralis. Okay? So isolate the latissimus dorsi, bisect it in half, and find the serratus ventralis underneath. Okay? So quick review. Start ventrally, move along to the brachiocephalicus, go laterally, go to the deep muscles, and then move along to here. Alright? Alicia's around, popping around, helping you guys if you need to, but obviously first you got to get all that fat and stuff off if you haven't had a chance.